Tonight we're going to compare the Boss NS-2 noise suppressor to the MXR noise clamp, two very similar noise suppression systems with similar designs, notably the loop that is gated based on what goes through the input jack, which is ostensibly your clean, untouched guitar. Our clean, untouched guitar in this case is originally a 1997 Parker Fly, tuned by a CC Electronics Polytune, and then recorded and looped in a Seymour Duncan Deja Vu so that I can have my hands free to manipulate this volume pedal, which is going to allow us to test the gate performance of the pedals. Also, none of you can blame me for changing the riff from pedal to pedal or playing it a little bit softer, a little bit quieter as I go from pedal to pedal. It's locked into the loop. That's what happens. The gain is supplied by a Joyo Ultimate Drive, which is a full-tone OCD clone. The sound you hear is going to be a mixture of this Canon G12 camera, this Zoom H2 recorder, and it's all coming out of a Gens-Benz El Diablo 60C on the clean channel. Here's what the loop sounds like. Gonna put it at full volume. Fantastic. So, as we test these gates, what you're going to want to watch for is this reduction light or this gate light. These will light up as the gate closes, so we'll be able to tell with our eyes as well as our ears when the gate is working and muting the output signal, or in the case of the MXR, attenuating it, but we'll get to that later. So first thing first is we're going to use the noise suppressor, and we're going to start at full volume with the pedal engaged. Actually, first we'll fade in the loop. That's maximum volume. Pedal on. It's about 50. Okay, I had the pedal at about 10% of its maximum volume, and you could see that's where the pedal was kind of starting to lose its grip on reality, and when it was starting to mute things that were actual notes. Let's try the same test with the MXR noise clamp. Okay, as you can see in here, the noise gate is failing at only about 50% volume, so I'm going to roll up the trigger knob and see if that has any effect. So, what we learned is that while neither is perfect, the NS-2 does a much better job of tracking your low volume or gentle playing than does the MXR noise clamp. The NS-2 fails at about 10%, maybe 20% of maximum volume, while the noise clamp fails at 50% or maybe even higher. What this means is that if you roll back on your volume knob at all, the noise clamp is going to start to get confused. Or if you start playing a little bit more lightly, like I did in the loop, the noise clamp is going to get confused. The NS-2 does get confused, but it is a lot more sensitive to softer playing and lower volume. Another point to consider when choosing between the Boss NS-2 and the MXR noise clamp is that the MXR does not completely mute your signal even when the gate is closed. This allows it to improve its dynamic response a little bit, and it never fully cuts off a sustained note or dynamic playing, even though it does get confused, as we saw in the previous example. But to illustrate this, I've switched out the Joyo for a Biang Fuzz Star, which is a modified Big Muff clone, and when the knobs are jacked up like this, it just creates all kinds of weird interference type noises, even when we're going to receive no input from the guitar or the loop. As you can see, the loop, the volume pedal is all the way back, and the guitar is muted. I'm just going to switch that pedal on, and you're going to hear the kind of nastiness that this thing does all on its own, because it's haunted. Here we go. All right, and now we're going to see what happens when we switch on the NS-2. Boom, full reduction. We're not hearing anything coming out of the speakers. Even if we tweak these knobs here, we're not really seeing anything happening. Doesn't make a difference. Now, switch that off. There's our noise again. Let's switch over to the MXR. I don't know if you can hear, but I can, that there is still a fair amount of noise coming out of that amp. And if we adjust the trigger, nothing. No difference. So this can be a problem if you're playing with super gobs and gobs of gain, because this thing never closes all the way, so there is going to be some background hum. So lots of gain plus lots of volume means you are going to hear some hum coming out of your speakers. See, the gate is closed, and yet we hear some ghostly noises. Better than this, but it's still there. Silence. Ghosts. Silence. Ghosts. In conclusion, the Boss NS-2 noise suppressor does perform better than the MXR noise clamp in dynamic playing circumstances. The noise clamp gets confused pretty easily as soon as you start to ease up on your picking attack or change your volume knob settings, and then it'll start to gate out notes that you actually want to play. The NS-2 does not do that. Also, it completely mutes the signal when the gate is closed, whereas the noise clamp only attenuates it. These two things can together say I cannot recommend the noise clamp as a noise gate if you are looking for something that is a real, honest-to-God noise gate. No noise gets through. Dead silence when you're playing Arrest. You want to hear Arrest, not a bunch of noise. However, while I didn't cover it in the video, there will be a link in the comments to an analysis of the tone suck that the noise suppressor exhibits. It does color your tone. It boosts the lows and mids a little bit and rolls off some high end, whether it's engaged or bypassed, and that might be a deal breaker for you. The noise clamp, as far as I can tell, does not color your tone at all. It is incredibly transparent. It also has a neat little thing where there's a dip switch inside where you can use this as a true bypass looper, so that when the so that you can bypass all the pedals in the loop and switch it off so that the gate's only engaged when you're in dirty mode, which is pretty cool if you get most of your dirt from pedals and don't use it all that much. That's all for today. If you check the link in the description, you can see some details about my methodology if you want to reproduce the experiment, or if you think I did something wrong. I have tested it with the pedals reversed, and I have tested them individually, and that did not change the results. So feel free to try this yourself, or if there's any other pedals you'd like to buy me so I can A/B them like this, I would be more than happy to do that. Until then, I hope you enjoyed our science time. Bye!